Happy Friday, everybody. The Final Fantasy XVI State of Play dropped, so of course it deserves nothing less than for us to get deep inside it right away. Alright, I give up. I can no longer judge Final Fantasy games through the lens of the Final Fantasy brand. It just makes no sense anymore. There's no longer any cohesion or unique shared identity to these games. You got me, Square Enix? Fine. I'll rely on Dragon Quest games for my AAA RPG fix from now on. That's fine. When I first watched this, I was rolling my eyes through like half of it. Flash over substance, more explosions.mp4 than actual combat, no controllable party members, no traversable world map, no visible narrative focus, an unremarkable generic protagonist, less RPG mechanics than a Diablo mobile game, and of course, a brand new buzzword, icons. Fucking great, Devil May Fantasy 16, bring it on. But then I realized something. I wasn't rolling my eyes because this looked like a bad game. I was rolling my eyes because it looked like a bad Final Fantasy game. But then I thought, why should that prevent me from enjoying a game, right? Like, who cares if it looks like quote-unquote Final Fantasy, I guess, right? Like, why the fuck does that even matter anymore? Should it? Maybe not. We're long past the point of these games being RPGs in any real sense. We lost that battle long ago. Check out our podcast on that for an absurdly lengthy discussion on the matter if you're interested. So maybe the question, is this a Final Fantasy game, isn't at all relevant anymore. At this point, isn't half the fun of a new Final Fantasy game announcement to watch everybody argue about whether or not it's a Final Fantasy game? Maybe we can just skip all that this time. Maybe all that matters is whether or not this will be a fun game. And besides, I mean, the dog is super cute. First thing I want to talk about is the combat. They have confirmed that all the battles in the game do in fact take place in real time. This is an action RPG, officially. You've got pretty standard fare action game stuff here, dodge timing, parry mechanics, special moves, that kind of stuff. Well, of course we don't know exactly how the combat is going to feel until we actually get our hands on the game, but damn it. Certainly looks fucking fire, I gotta admit. Okay, Square Enix, okay, I see you. While they have confirmed that you do get party members that join you for combat from time to time, as well as that dog Torgal, you will not be controlling them at all, though you do get to command Torgal to do some limited stuff, which is cool. My guess is that the inclusion of that dog just guaranteed this game another 5 million copies sold, easy. All this is pretty baseline for any decent action game though. It looks incredible but feels like little more than directionless flash and pomp, if I'm being honest. What I found particularly interesting though was the inclusion of a set of what I'm calling easy mode gear, all carrying the prefix timely. These different accessories each have a different effect to assist the player with a specific aspect of the combat system that they might have difficulty with. For example, the Ring of Timely Focus slows down time and makes it easier to dodge attacks. The Ring of Timely Evasion makes you just auto dodge. Badge of Might gives a huge boost to your attack attribute, while the Ring of Timely Strikes allows the execution of complex ability combinations with a single button press. In my opinion, as cool as the visual aspect of the combat obviously is, this is the real game-changing area of their combat design. By providing these buffs in the form of equipable gear, they may have solved the problem of how to sell this kind of combat and battle system to die-hard fans of traditional turn-based RPG battle systems. Personally, one of the main reasons I usually don't like games that use this type of battle system is because I'm bad at them, or at least not good enough to just be able to breeze through them. That's something I've always liked about turn-based battle systems. The pace and tone of them felt appropriate for a long, dense, narrative-driven game. I resented the amount of concentration required by the more action-focused games. This easy mode gear set that they're giving you, along with the option to turn on story-focused mode, sounds great to me, because it makes me feel as though it's more likely that I'll actually be able to play through this entire game. And making games playable and accessible to more people and broader audiences is almost always a good thing, providing it's done well and in a way that doesn't compromise the core of the game, which this at least does not appear to do. So that's awesome. Rare W for Square Enix. When it comes to the story though, I still have no idea what this game is about. Literally all they tell you is,
the protagonist of our story is Clive Rosfield, and his journey takes place in the realm of Valisthea. We follow the epic tale of Clive, shield of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria as it unfolds across 3 distinct periods in our hero's life: his teens, 20s, and 30s.
Okay, but why Clive? What does he do? Who is he? What motivates him? Why should we care about him? This clip makes it seem like he has superpowers of some sort, you know, like the chosen one trope, but beyond that, there's nothing. Obviously, a lot of these questions will need to be answered by simply playing the game, but I feel like we should know at least some of the answers at this point, right? Seriously, what is this game about? Is it a revenge story, a story about loss, a journey of self-discovery? Is it a coming-of-age tale? We know that we'll follow Clive through 3 stages of his life, which reminds me a little bit of Dragon Quest V, so that's dope. But beyond that, I really wish they weren't so tight-lipped on the details because it looks like they've crafted a really cool-looking world. Speaking of that, we do get a world map of sorts, but it's not a directly traversable one, or at least doesn't appear to be. Fans of fast travel mechanics will likely be fucking with this, but anyone hoping for a return to the old-school style Final Fantasy world map may be disappointed. Reminds me a lot of The Legend of Dragoon, actually, and that game was fucking cool, and its map worked pretty well, so hopefully that'll be the case here as well. We're not given too much on the actual systems of the game this time, though, which is a bummer. This is about all we get.
The abilities that Clive wields have unique characteristics depending on the icon they are derived from. Players can use ability points, collected by defeating enemies, to unlock more abilities or upgrade existing ones.
I mean, other than the use of the word icon, they could be describing literally any game here. It does look like there could be a fair bit of depth, though, based on the brief glimpses we got of the ability tree, but beyond that, we're gonna have to wait and see. Something I did really like the look of, though, was Cid's hideaway. From what they showed, this looks like a hub area similar to some towns in Diablo games or places like Round Table Hold or the Nexus from Elden Ring and Demon's Souls. Containing stuff like vendors and blacksmiths, I like this approach a lot. The vibes of always having a home base to return to restock, upgrade are excellent, and maybe it's just the influence of hundreds of hours put into Elden Ring, but a good hub just makes the game feel like it's really dense. I love that. Not everything has a rational explanation, okay? I just like it. And look at this.
There's also Lordesman Harpocrates, who will unlock Valisthea's secrets as Clive recounts tales of his adventures.
I have quite the find for you today.
I mean, yeah, tell me they didn't know exactly what they were doing here. Hits you right in the fucking feels, doesn't it? Clever girl, Square Enix. Clever girl. And since that clip highlights that gorgeous piano melody here, I just want to take a moment to mention how fantastic most of the music featured in this State of Play was. Square Enix is known to pretty consistently hold their own when it comes to original score compositions in their games, but damn, this recent stuff really sounds incredible. It may not be Nobuo Uematsu, but it's still awesome. The main point of concern that I have overall, though, is these big icon battles that they keep hyping up and how they're shopped as one of the major set pieces of this game. Listen to how they're described here.
Players will experience everything from a 3D scrolling shooter to a heavyweight wrestling match with devastating attacks that encompass the entire battlefield.
Now, is it just me, or does this sound a little more like directionless, flailing Michael Bay movie stuff than a breathtaking, gripping climax that's the result of a painstakingly crafted labor of love? It just kind of sounds like they don't know which ingredients to add, so they just threw them all in. The battles look absolutely gorgeous, of course, but I can't help but wonder how they fit into the game and why, because right now they just look like spectacle for the sake of spectacle. Nothing necessarily wrong with that. Certainly, the Final Fantasy franchise is no stranger to that kind of stuff, but it does make me concerned for the future of the franchise as a whole. And that's really the crux of my concern here. Final Fantasy games don't really have an identity anymore, and I accept that. But it does make me wonder who exactly is making these games and why. At this point, it feels much more likely that Square Enix just has a number of huge teams working on any number of games at any given time, and when it's time for a new mainline Final Fantasy game, they just pick whichever one is furthest along and looks the most promising, slap the Final Fantasy logo on it, rename a few in-game items to High Potion and Phoenix Down. Ultimately, I think that if it results in a game that's fun to play, it probably doesn't really matter, but it does make me a little sad to know that the possibility of us ever getting another Final Fantasy 7 or 10 is likely gone forever. I just don't think that they set out to make Final Fantasy games anymore from the jump like they used to. They just That looks good. Turn that into Final Fantasy. That's probably all they do. But what do you guys think, though? Are you like me and think this game looks great even though there's not much Final Fantasy left in it? Do you not care? Is this what you were hoping for from this game, or are you disappointed? Let us know in the comments down below. I'm excited to get down there and chop it up with y'all. Anyway, that is our show for today, though. Thanks for chilling. Spend a little bit of your free time with us tonight. We love you today. We love you all the way. Hope you have an awesome weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out. Pass out, Woke up, what up, smoke up, blunt, then I'm back down. Back down, what? Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out. Pass out, Woke up, what up, smoke up, blunt.